Welcome to new lesson where we're going to talk about budgeting basics and managing debt, a topic that every new adult needs to master. But don't worry, this won't be your typical you need to cut back on your coffee intake kind of budgeting lesson. In fact, we're going to be breaking it down in a way that actually feels doable and realistic for your lifestyle. If you've ever felt overwhelmed or confused by budgeting, you are in the right place. So first off, let's talk about why budgeting is important. Without a budget, it's so easy to overspend and live paycheck to paycheck. But with the budget, you are in control. You can save for the future. You can avoid stress about money, or at least mitigate it. You can achieve your financial goals. And the way I like to think about a budget is it's really kind of your spending plan for your money. It tells you exactly where you envision your money going each month, so you don't end up lost or scrambling when it's time to pay the bills. And so let's start with a simple and popular budget structure you can consider following initially. So that's the 50-30-20 rule. This rule breaks down your after-tax income into three categories. First, you have 50% for your needs, and these are your essentials like rent, utilities, groceries, transportation. Then you have 30% for your wants. These are non-essential but important expenses like dining out, entertainment, and travel. And then 20% for savings and debt. This includes building your savings, putting money into your emergency fund, and paying down any debt. Now, for easy, simple math, let's say your take-home pay is $2,000. Here's how you'd break it down with this structure. 50% needs is $1,000, 30% wants is $600, and then 20% savings / debt is $400. This formula is a great starting point, and the best part is that you can adjust these percentages based on your personal circumstances. Now, I personally think the percentage game is a great starting point to think about how a budget should look, but in reality, I think you need real personal data and information. So here's my take on how to develop a more personalized budget. Step one, understand your spending and expenses. The first step in creating a budget is to actually sit down and take inventory of all of your current monthly expenses. Many people underestimate how much they are spending on things like eating out and shopping each month. But it's important to take into account all of these smaller expenses when creating your budget. Now, the goal is to make a list of all of your current expenses and to take note of anything that you are spending more than you planned or like. And then step two is define your monthly income. How much do you earn every month? This includes any income that you receive from a part-time job, side hustles, or other sources of income. Be sure to distinguish between your gross pay and take-home pay. Now, this can help you figure out how much money you actually have to spend. If possible, try and stick to monthly calculations in the beginning. Now, the goal will be to eventually budget with each paycheck, but you will get there over time. So now step three is to evaluate your current spending patterns. Once you have an idea of what you spend on each month, evaluate your current spending patterns. Are you spending more money than you are making? That's a big question. Is money being left idle without a purpose? Are there areas where you could actually save more money? Check what you are spending your money on and decide if this is an opportunity to make better use of your money. Now, with step four, you create a budget based on your income and priorities. Include all of your sources of income in your budget: salary, side jobs, investments, etc. Keep in mind that you may have to sacrifice in some areas in order to support others. So for example, if you need to decrease spending in one area to free up money for an emergency fund or to put towards your retirement account, understand that choice and trade-off. Step five, compare your tracking with your prioritized budget. So you want to look at your spending patterns over the last 2 months. Are they sustainable in the long term? How does your spending align with your prioritized budget that you just made for yourself? These are the discrepancies that you need to be aware of and take steps to address. Perhaps you have been eating out too often, which means you need to cut that expense from your budget. Or maybe you've been buying a lot of frivolous items that don't actually contribute to your financial goals. Whatever the case may be sure to not ignore these things. Make a note of any of these discrepancies. So you want to write down what you think needs to change and come up with a plan for how you will make those changes a reality, okay? So once you know what changes you need to make, Commit to following the plan and keeping to it. Again, compare your spending patterns from the, let's say last 2 months to your long-term budget goals. How does your current spending compare to your needs and wants? And are you buying things that contribute to your long-term goals? Or are you spending money on things that will not help you reach them? So make a list of what needs to change so that it can become a reality. If your spending doesn't align with your goals, you must make changes to reach those goals. Otherwise, they will never happen. Step 6. You should now have a good understanding of where you are currently. You have 2 months of spending data and where you want to be, which is your prioritized budget. So now your goal is to actually develop a budget that is sustainable and fits your accepted lifestyle. Commit to following that budget and track your progress as you go. All right, now step seven is just refine, refine, and refine. Continue to make adjustments as necessary and continue to follow the budget over the long term. Remember, your budget is a spending plan. So when necessary, revisit your budget and adjust your priorities to reflect changes in your financial situation or your spending habits. That's really all for today's lesson on budgeting and kind of managing debt. Remember, a budget is a tool to help you live the life you want while being financially responsible. It's about balance, and the more you practice, the easier it will get. In our next lesson, we'll dive into how to actually stick to a budget and some useful tips to actually stay on track. So, as always, thank you for watching Adulting Starts Here. I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.